Welcome to another episode of Wugle Maker. I'm Von Linsington, and today we're making another Hazbin Hotel character, Vaggie, because we cannot leave Charlie on the shelf without her partner in rehabilitation, the first person who believed in her passion project. So the first thing I've done is rolled out some Sculpey, very thin, and I'm cutting a very thin strip. This is going to be the fingerless gloves, so we're going to wrap this around the midway through the limbs. Cut it off at the bottom, smooth it out, and repeat the same on the other side. And I'm going to put some clay through my garlic press. This is going to give me a bunch of strands that are going to be helpful not only to make hair, but also to make some of these strands on the clothing and help me with some of the smaller pieces. I'm cutting out a very small piece that's going to be kind of the dress, t-shirt dress that Vaggie wears. And I don't have to get the straps the right length, I just have to kind of cut out where they're going to be. So this is roughly the right size, I just need to make the straps a bit longer so that they wrap around. So I'm just going to kind of press these together and extend out the straps on both sides. There's also that one bra strap that shows curled around the shoulder, so we got to do that first before we put the dress on. Just pop the dress on and then very carefully get each sleeve into a different position. And as we wrap it around, we can either tear off the excess or just press it into the back. The hair is going to cover some of this later anyway. I'm going to cut some of the excess of this off so that I can cut a small piece to make the bottom of the dress. The bottom of Vaggie's dress has a kind of a lace pattern, so I'm just going to press in a little bit of a pattern with this tool and then clean it up with my needle tool. And then just take this little flap here, take the part that looks like lace, and press them together and smooth it out until it just looks like one piece. Next, I'm going to get the eyes ready, except for that this isn't the eyes that I normally do. Vaggie has an X for one of her eyes, which is very interesting. I kind of wonder if it has to do with a way she lost it, if it's part of a backstory, or if it's just neat character design. Either way, I have made this X too large, and I'm going to need to cut it down a little bit. That's about more like it. I'll put this aside for later, as it hovers over the hair a little bit. So we're going to have to get the hair ready first and get enough that it's going to wrap around the entire back of the head. Even the whole thing out once it's long enough to wrap around the whole back of the head. And then we can just carefully press this. Now I just want to get her eye into place so I can see where the bangs are going to go. Start getting perspective on this. There we go. The bangs are very angled, so rather than try to shape it, I'm just going to cut all the angles that I want. And once I cut it into shape, I'm just going to put one extra little strand at the bottom for stability, and a few strands at the top for the depth. And then just pop that right on top. And the X hovers right over the hair. And press that into place. And all that's left to do is the bow in the back of her hair. So we're gonna do just like the bow tie, except for we have a much bigger piece of clay, and we can be a little more generous with that indent we're putting into there. So 2 hearts, smoosh them together, that's a bow. And I'm just gonna cut a strip out here, and then 2 little triangles cut out to the bottom of each of these tiny strips so that it looks like a ribbon cut. And then I'm going to press those onto the bottom of the bow. One last tiny piece of clay to be a knot, and then this can be put onto the back here. Also, I've scored the back, which is edited out and you haven't seen, to help the whole thing hold into place. And from here, that is Vaggie. She is all done. This just needs to be baked and then painted. In my last video, I talk about not being entirely sure about which shade of color you're putting down and not to be afraid. And as you can see, I've started and I put way too dark of a shade of gray, and I just fixed it as I was layering up. Like, this is going to take a lot of layers before it looks good, so don't be afraid to put a few layers down. Do it wrong a few times. It'll be fine by the time the whole thing is finished. I've had a lot of fun making these Hazbin Hotel characters. Let me know in the comments below if I missed one of the Hazbin characters that you'd like to see, or if you'd like me to move on to other fandoms and do other characters, which, of course, I'm going to get to one way or the other. But I would love to hear what kind of characters you guys would like to see, or even which characters that you've already made into your own Wugles. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be the first to know which characters are going to be joining Charlie and Vaggie on the shelf. At the end of every Wugle Maker episode, I'm going to add 1 Wugle to the shelf, and maybe something exciting will happen when there's no more room for Wugles on the shelf. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you guys next time.